Hey YouTube, good morning, and everybody back to work, moving back to work. Well, White Deer, Texas, and all these other little towns here in the panhandle of Texas is lacking certain things. And if you're a business-minded person, you can really get it going again. And if you know how to promote on social media and wherever else, you could actually build something. See, I've had this thought and this idea a long time ago to where people would move into a small town like White Deer or Danette or Sanford, or I'm sure in your state there's probably small towns like this. They go in, they see that these little towns are in need of something. You know, restaurants, grocery stores, heck, sporting goods stores. Out here, that would be a big thing. You know, there is one little gun store, I think, here, but I don't think they're ever really open. So, there you go. But anyways, you see different stores, clothing stores, whatever. Go in with a bunch of business people, not corporate, but mom and pop, and you help build these little towns. You go into these towns and you say, hey, I'm going to help build your town. I'm going to give you the things that you want. The food, the pizza, the whatever. Here, pizza would be king. I think pizza and burgers, hamburgers. There is a restaurant up here that closed. So the building's here. It just needs people to run it. But anyways, these small towns could be self-sufficient if you get people in here with business-minded ideas. But no, but everybody wants to move away from small towns, go to the big cities where there's robbing, looting, stealing, where you can't carry a gun. You can't even do half of what you can do here. I'm telling you, small towns sometimes are the better idea because there's family, there's friends, there's security here because everybody does know everybody, pretty much for the most part. See, people here watch out for each other. I'm telling you what, the one gas station we have that does have a little bit of a deli type thing where they put out food, it actually is a little bit too expensive sometimes to buy stuff. So if you have a restaurant or a little grocery store with a restaurant or something like that here, that would take off. See, towns like this is just waiting. They're just waiting for that entrepreneur person that's willing to take the risk and do it. Willing to put the work in. There's a restaurant up here, been for sale here in White Deer forever. Right there on the highway. Be a good little stop and go, you know. So I mean, there's ideas in these small towns. So everybody says, I want to get out of these big cities, out of New York, out of God knows where. Well, here you go. That's an idea. Come in, start your little business, set up your family for good education, because the schools here are awesome. I mean, can't complain. The schools here are pretty freaking cool. They're small, so your kids get good education. You ain't getting that crap that they're pushing in the big city. I'm telling you. See, small towns are waiting for people to come back. Abandoned towns are waiting for those people that are willing to build a community. See, sometimes the big city, the more populated city is not always the better idea. Those cities are going to fail. And when they fail, all hell is going to break loose. I wouldn't want to be around those places. I'd rather be right here where the small towns are. See, the good thing about a small town like this is if you want to come in and start a custom hot rod shop, there's only one here, but he's overloaded with some of the work that he's got to do by himself. He's from New Zealand, by the way. That tells you come in legally and you can have your own business. But anyways, this small town, yeah, a lot of families, one family pretty much runs this town. That's fine. They made their money. But the good thing about that is they got money. They gonna dump money. If you have a good, let's say, custom car business or motorcycle business or small engine repair business or farm tractor repair business out here, even a bicycle shop or something out here, I think it would do fine out here. Now, would you get a ton of business like you would the city? Big city? Probably not. But that's where you got to build. You got to build and got to work hard and got to achieve those dreams. But another thing great, if you got a small engine business like repairing ATVs or anything small out here, you can buy these cheap go-karts or whatever that need rebuilt, rebuild them, put them out for sale. I guarantee you people out in this area, the farmers and all that, they'll buy them. They'll see that they're running. Heck, if you do a trade-in business where you allow them to bring in their old ones and do a trade business, I think you'd do all right with that, because they have go-karts, ATVs and everything sitting around that need repaired. So you trade them off and you keep building, keep fixing. I guarantee you there's a lot of families in these small towns within driving distance of here that would love to have a good golf cart, gas-powered golf cart. Electric is okay for around town, but it doesn't have enough range sometimes to be out here. So gas-powered golf carts would be killer out here. The old Cushman carts would be killer out here. Somebody would restore those, the metal carts, and making them actually better for farming. I'm telling you, there's ideas in small towns if you take a minute and walk around and see what it's missing. And you start building, and your reputation, get people to know you as a friendly person, an outgoing person. If I had the money, I would go start the restaurant myself. I would get people in there that can cook, that can actually cook on a consistent basis. You know, the food be good on a consistent basis. Restaurant business takes a lot to run, yes. You gotta have good food, gotta have good people, and you can't have a bad attitude, especially in a small town. I'm telling you what, if you got good food and you got good personality, this restaurant would be perfect for you. See, America needs to build back mom and pop shops. Forget the corporations, you know, Walmart and all these other big corporations. They're failing. Those are failing, man. They're falling apart. That's where you bring it back to mom and pop. That's where you bring it back to brother and sister that have two businesses beside each other, and they're working together to keep those businesses going. You know, family-owned, family-oriented businesses is where it's going to be. It's going to go back to that eventually. The old-time ways. Having the old small-town feel attitude. Because you see the big cities are failing. They're very negative. Go into the big city and all you hear is negative, negative, negative. Go into the small towns and people are, hey, how you doing? What's up? And they get to know you Now, granted, you got your little hellions that run around, but those hellions usually get singled out pretty quick. So, if you're out there just to actually create a positive vibe, a positive lifestyle, and bring out positive in these small towns, I think you would do fine in small towns. If you're out there just to run the streets and cause hell, the people ain't going to put up with that. You ain't going to have to worry about the sheriff department. The people won't put up with that. So, you see in all these BlackRock and whatever corporate owned corporations that people are starting to out. They're gone. They're going to be gone. You know, even Lay's potato chips. If you could create your own potato chips in a small town, I guarantee you somebody here in a small town will buy them. Beef jerky. If you create pure, good beef jerky with no additives, all these chemically additive junk, which they do actually at the butcher shop here, people will buy it. The old time foods, man. You know, we used to call them tenderloins, but they're actually pork fritters. You know, St. Pete, I think it was, pork fritters growing up. You don't find that kind of stuff anymore. You have to order it. If you have a grocery store that has that, go for it. I'm actually going to go check at the market today, see if I can get them to order it if they haven't ordered it, because I talked to them before about it, and I forgot all about it. But old time foods like that, the old licorice, pure licorice, real licorice, black licorice, the old candy, the old stuff like that, people are looking for it. Even though you think they're not, they are. They're looking for a lot of the old time stuff. They're looking for small towns where they can live and raise their families and not worry about their kids being kidnapped, or not worried about their kids getting bullied to the point where they're getting beat up because some thug wants to push his drugs. Guarantee you, if we know that there's drugs in this town, those people get called out. We know pretty much who runs drugs and who is a predator or whatever. We keep an eye on them. I guarantee you the sheriff here does too. That man's an old man, but he's an old, straight up man. Talked to him a couple times. I like him. He seems to be pretty cool. Very short of words. But when he does talk, he'll tell you, I don't care if you live here, just don't cause problems. See, he runs this county, and this county is a bunch of small towns. The Panhandle of Texas is a beautiful place. Yes, it's hot. Yes, it's cold. Yes, it's very quiet. But the fun part about it is, in fact, you can take your kids out to the country, teach your kids how to shoot guns. Got gun ranges here. Hell, we got places where you can get off the road far enough and you can teach how to shoot too. You can teach your kids how to ride golf carts responsibly, go-karts responsibly. You can teach them how to drive responsibly. See, small town, you can teach them how to work because there's farmers that will help put them to work and teach them how to work. The rodeo right back here will teach them a lot of responsibilities on how to take care of animals and all kinds of stuff. See, small towns, kids learn how to live and survive, where in the big cities, they're just running around aimless like a chicken with its head cut off. They're killing each other, they're bored, they're playing video games that are so realistic that they're out saying, hey, I'll just go down and shoot Joe down the street because he pissed me off. You know, small towns, you don't see that happening. Telling you what, small towns, the price of living, the homes, And the taxes and all that is actually half the cost of California, or actually a third of the cost, actually. Because some of these homes you see in the background over here, probably what, $200,000 at the very most? Very most. Maybe 240, 250. But you can get into a house starting at $50,000. Yes, it might need renovated, but you get the land and the house. I think I seen a house here in White Deer, Texas, $150,000. Really nice house. Had about a half acre, a little over. Beautiful house. 3 bedroom, 2 bath. In California, that house would cost $1,000,000. You're talking 5 times the price or 100 times the price, whatever. See, small town, you got your baseball, you got your swimming pool, you got where they can walk down the street alone still. I see little kids walking, they'll wave at me when I'm walking my dog. And you don't have to worry and fear that some person is going to do something. Because your kids are taught stranger danger. If you don't recognize them, they look new, they look weird, they're acting the way they shouldn't. And they're approaching you asking questions they shouldn't. Run away. Scream, holler. Because I guarantee you in a small town like this, somebody's going to step up and say, no, you're not harming our children. Small town like this, you probably won't make it out of town because you got, what, 30 miles before the next town. You ain't going to go nowhere, really, because the sheriff, once we call the sheriff calls the next town, and the next town, and the next town. I can guarantee you, you ain't going to get very far. And then let alone the people listen to the scanners out here. We get alerts. We listen to the all the news out here. Small towns, as the song says, try in a small town. You ain't gonna get very far. I think America needs to be promoting small towns, telling everybody move away from big cities. Houston, right now. Houston, this is how bad Houston's get. Everybody says they're going to Houston. Why? That's the STD capital of Texas. People have so many STDs there. There's crimes out of control there. You got everything going on in Houston. Yeah, everybody says they're going to Houston. Why? They're going to Waco. They're going to Austin. They're going to the big cities. Why? Always ask why. Well, it's really, and you're going to put your kids at risk by living in those towns. And you're going to put your family at risk, yourself at risk, by living in those towns. Hell, you're going to put your health at risk for living in those towns. So always ask why. What's the point? I'm telling you what, I would love to see somebody with a good entrepreneur spirit come into a town like this, open a restaurant, and really go to town on that restaurant. We got truck drivers and everybody goes through this town. They would love to have a good little restaurant out here. That'd be kind of cool. You got Panhandle. You got all these other places kind of out in the middle of nowhere. If you're the only restaurant, only little grocery store, guess who they're going to visit? Imagine. You know, in Houston, you have so many varieties of businesses out there. Yes, but sometimes variety is not better. Sometimes variety is a big target for those people wanting to do evil. Wow. Out here, if you had a gun sitting on the wall with a sign that says this is the complaint department, people would look at you and laugh. That's a joke. Cool, right. And if you had a sign that says this is also my security, my Second Amendment, people would look at you and say, right on, go for it. Because I'm telling you what, if you have to have that kind of security out here, and you have to display it and let people know, that sets a line. That sets that line in the sand. That we are not going to tolerate your robbing, looting, and all that. Because whatever happens, the sheriff will be called. And I guarantee you, it'll most likely be you that is robbing and looting that'll be on the ground. Because majority of everybody carries a gun out here. Open, concealed, doesn't matter. In the car, on the ATV. Heck, I see people out here riding around on those side-by-sides. Has a shotgun in the back of it. Guarantee you ain't going to touch that shotgun because that old man also carries on his hip. See, small towns is always better because it's always so quiet, so peaceful. You don't hear the gunfire. You don't hear the police. Sometimes you need to separate yourself, like I said in the last video. You need to separate yourself from all that noise, that electronic noise. And yes, every once in a while you hear somebody working on their cars and stuff, or the train go by or whatever. But you need to step out, reconnect with God. Sometimes just going out in the middle of nowhere is the perfect way to be. So you got towns for sale, whole towns for sale out here if you do your research. Hell, in Arizona and everywhere else, I guarantee you there's whole towns for sale out there. If you have a community spirit and you wanted to start your own business and start your own community, you could do it. It's possible. See, people are so connected into this hive mentality, exactly what it is, that they got to be in the big city where all this trouble is. They don't understand community mentality, where you build a community and you make it positive, not negative. I guarantee you, if you start building a positive community, people will want to come out there. They'll want to build. They'll want to say, hey, I want to be a part of that. Because if you don't understand, people are tired of this negative. And what's coming down the pipeline is not going to be a good thing. So they're going to be looking for small places like this to come and raise their children where they think they're going to be safe. You can't guarantee your kids are going to be safe anywhere anymore in this world. But with God, with Jesus, you put them in his hands and he's going to say, yes, they can be safe. Because he will protect them and he will guide them. I pray God's protection over anybody that's watching this video and all Americans and Trump right now. Y'all have a God blessed day and have a good day. Be safe.